I will call to order the meeting of Lincoln County Board of Commissioners on this 6th day of January in the year of 2025. If you would, please join me in a moment of silence and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
All right, you got a motion by Commissioner Patton. All in favor? Aye. All right, passes unanimous. All right, now I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Carpenter. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. That passes unanimous. All right, now we will go to the public hearings portion of this, where Jeremiah will present. For the first case, the Planning Board and the Board of Commissioners will hold a joint hearing. At the conclusion of this hearing, the Planning Board will deliberate and bring recommendations to the next meeting, which will be held on January the 13th, 2025 at 6:30. And at this time, I will call on Megan Gilbert to give some information concerning the zoning cases.
Thank you. So tonight we will be hearing both quasi-judicial matters and legislative matters. A legislative hearing is a forum for expressing public opinion about a project. A quasi-judicial hearing is considered an evidentiary hearing where the board must make a finding of fact as enumerated in the Unified Development Ordinance. More importantly, these findings must be based on competent, substantial, and material evidence in the record as required by law. I need to confirm that no board members on either board have a conflict of interest in regards to the cases before us tonight. No member shall participate in or vote in a manner that would violate the applicant's constitutional rights to an impartial decision maker. Impermissible violations of due process include a member having a fixed opinion prior to hearing the matter that is not susceptible to change, undisclosed ex parte communications prior to any quasi-judicial hearing, a close familial, business, or other association or relationship with the applicant, or a financial interest in the outcome of the matter. Does any board member have such a conflict?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, Jeremiah. We are starting with CZ 2022-5, A. Sawyer's Towing and Transport LLC.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's first case is an amendment, a request to amend a conditional zoning district. The applicant is requesting the modification of their conditional zoning district to add a bar open to the public and an outdoor entertainment areas, several outdoor entertainment areas as permitted uses on their site plan, and to remove a condition imposed by their current site plan that was approved to only host private events. In June of 2022, conditional zoning 2022-5 was approved based on the applicant's proposed site-specific development plan. On that plan, the applicant had indicated that the event space would be used to host private events only. It would not be open to the general public. Our staff became aware early last year of the business on this property operating as a bar open to the public. We engaged in conversations with the applicants at that time, and through the course of those conversations, the applicant did submit in writing an affidavit acknowledging that they would no longer open to the general public in that manner. They would abide by the conditions of their site plan unless they came back before this board in the form of a public hearing to amend their site plan. And so that's the purpose of the hearing tonight, is to amend that plan. And during those conversations, we came to realize there were a couple of areas on the site where they had expanded the use beyond what was shown on their approved plan, had a couple outdoor seating areas for outdoor entertainment, and I'll allow the applicant to expand on any details they'd wish to add to that. The subject property is a 3/4 acre parcel located at 3592 Gastonia Highway, and it is adjoined by property zoned general business and conditional zoning industrial general. That CZIG district is the direct adjoining parcel that Sawyer's Towing also owns. That's where they operate their towing and storage yard. Land uses in this area include industrial, business, and residential uses, and this property is located in an area that's designated by the land use plan as suburban commercial center. Under the currently approved plan for this conditional zoning district, the permitted uses are restricted to only an event venue for private events by reservation only. If this request were to be approved, the permitted uses would be expanded to include the bar and the outdoor recreation areas. Staff has recommended approval of this request. You have our proposed statement of consistency and reasonableness in your packet, as well as the applicant's proposed revised site plan. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me. I will point out a community involvement meeting was held with, I believe, one in attendance at that meeting. You have a summary of that meeting in your packet as well, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Does anyone have any questions for Jeremiah?
Yes, sir. Jeremiah, do you know if they have an alcohol permit to sell?
I'll allow the applicant to speak to their status with ABC Commission and the permitting there.
And so basically, this is a getting forgiveness and not permission?
Our staff became aware that they were operating as a bar open to the general public, which was not what their approved plan was approved for.
And were there any fines associated with failing to do what they were supposed to be doing?
So no fines have been accumulated yet. Almost immediately within, I would say within 48 hours of receiving their notice of violation from our office, the applicant contacted us, requested a meeting, and we began the process of discussing what they needed to do to get into compliance and to cease this operation until they could come back before this board.
And when was that?
So the notice of violation was issued in March, I believe March 15th of last year. And by July 12th, we had a signed affidavit from the applicant stating that they are no longer operating as a bar open to the general public, and that they will henceforth be abiding by their approved plan unless they come back before this board.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else have anything? All right. At this time, I will open the public hearing for CZ 2022-5A. Sawyer Towing. Is the applicant here? Okay. And as you step to the mic, if you would, state your name and address.
My name is Teresa Sawyer, 3401 Linwood Road in Gastonia, North Carolina.
Is there anything you have to add?
I was made aware of us being not compliant to the permit, and like Jeremiah stated, I immediately ceased everything, and we worked diligently with them to get everything up in the way it's supposed to be. And Josh helped me a lot with getting all the stuff done and doing the site plan and stuff and getting the application in to get it presented to you guys as in being open to the public.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, ma'am. And do you have a current ABC permit?
We do. We've actually have had our permit for 2 years. So, and that is another reason why we're here tonight, because, you know, we have to abide by all the ABC laws and so forth. So being open up to the public would help us tremendously.
Are you serving food?
Only the requirements that the ABC requires us to, which is when people have their events there, they bring in their food and stuff. We have a kitchen to where they prep and stuff, but we've not been open to the public, so we've not served any, like, real food or anything, no.
What type of events have you hosted in the past?
Well, we had an Easter egg hunt for our community, and that's when we kind of found out that we weren't supposed to be open to the public because we had, the children there, and we had like a big old, like the bounce houses, and we've had DJs outside, and we had all this stuff for the kids for the Easter, and we weren't supposed to do that. We've had an event for a lady who was diagnosed with cancer, and this was before I knew that we wasn't supposed to be doing events like that. But now, currently, we just do private events. Like, people rent the space, and then they have their birthday parties and stuff there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have anything else? Anything else you'd like to add? Okay. We're seeing no one else being signed up to speak in public hearing, then I will close the public hearing.
Thank you.
And at this time, the planning board will recess to their meeting room in room 310, and anyone interested in their discussion is welcome to follow them. All right, Jeremiah, you ready for the next one?
I am. Madam Attorney, do you have any points of order for quasi-judicial cases? You've already covered that? All right, thank you. The next case is plat approval number 61. The applicants in this case are requesting preliminary plat approval for a residential subdivision with up to 22 lots for single-family homes. This site plan for this proposed subdivision shows a new road extending access to Horseshoe Lake Road for the newly proposed lots, and the applicant is proposing to serve the lots with private wells and septic systems. The 24.74 acre site is located on the north side of Horseshoe Lake Road, about 600 feet east of Highway 321 in the Lincoln Township. If the IT staff wouldn't mind scrolling down on the staff report here a little bit. So this property is located within an area that's designated by the land use plan as large lot residential suitable for single-family homes at densities up to 1.35 units per acre. The site plan that's before you tonight does not exceed that maximum recommended density. And again, as alluded to earlier, the applicant intends to serve this development with private wells and septic systems. The proposed plan has been reviewed by planning staff, and we've determined that it does comply with the subdivision standards with regards to external access, internal road connectivity, sidewalks, and street trees. You have the applicant's proposed findings of fact, as well as on the last page of your packet, their proposed site plan for your review. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Jeremiah?
Jeremiah, this is the one that we'd already approved once before, but now he has increased the lot number by 3, I believe.
No, sir, we've not had a public hearing on this site.
This is the one over off Horseshoe.
This is on Horseshoe Lake Road. It also, the backside of the property backs up to Meandering Lane, but as you can see on their site plan, they're not proposing access to Meandering Lane.
We had one, about 2 months ago that was very similar. It looked exactly like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe that one was on George Brown Road, the one you're referring to, Commissioner Cecina.
Okay, anyone have any questions?
I just have one. So this is a new road going into this development. Is this going to
Correct.
be a state-maintained road?
So the applicant intends to dedicate this as a public road. And then once the subdivision is built out, then the intent would be to petition DOT for maintenance.
Okay, so it'll be built to those standards.
It's required, whether it's public or private, the UDO requires it to be built to DOT standards.
Okay.
Yes.
But the intent is to turn it over to DOT.
That's my understanding. You might want to just double check with the applicant.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? I will now open the public hearing for PA 61 Magnolia Road Apartments LLC, Long Homes LLC, Howard Builders Incorporated applicants. So please be aware you must be sworn in by the clerk before you address the board. And I have 3 listed here to speak. Wesley Howard, Builders. If you would, please come to the podium. State your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Wesley Howard, 4832 Burris Road in Denver, North Carolina. The road will be built to state specs and will be taken over by the state. There's another tract on the corner of Horseshoe Lake right there that's almost the exact same size. I think that's what you're thinking about. This is the first time, though, that we've
Okay.
done this. 22 lots total. We do have restrictions in place, all single family. And that's pretty much it, I guess.
Anybody have any questions?
Sir, did you prepare the proposed findings of fact that were submitted with the application?
I did not. David did that for us.
Okay, I'll get David to incorporate it then.
Okay.
I do have one quick question. These are all single-family dwellings and not duplexes? I have to ask my Carol Mitchum question.
Yes, and we do have restrictions in place, and it's all single family, no duplexes, 2-car attached garages, brick foundations,
Thank you.
stuff like that.
David Ledford, 2730 Maiden Highway.
All right, David.
Yes, I did
prepared?
provide those findings of fact.
And you want to incorporate those as part of your testimony?
We do.
Thank you.
We do. If y'all got any other questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Anybody got any questions for David? All right.
Okay.
And then we have a Francis Underwood, if I can say the.
Francis Underwood, 1271 Meandering Lane. We're partially state maintained till you get down. I think this is going to be about 600 feet from where our property is. The individual, no company. And I'm wanting to know how this is going to affect us down in there when they go to drilling these wells. And Cloudburst actually comes around to Meandering Lane, and it is paved and state maintained. Partial part of Meandering is paved and maintained. And our roads are terrible. And if they're gonna bring this in, I wanna know how that's gonna affect. The subdivision part of them saying no duplexes was one of my questions. They answered that. But I wanna know how that's gonna affect us folks down there that's paying taxes, and we can't even get a load of gravel. And I know that's not got anything to do with the builders, but when they go to drill on these wells and doing all this stuff, with it being 600 foot from us, is it gonna affect us? I mean, we're already in terrible shape road-wise.
I don't think it will affect anything. David, you have anything to add to that on the effect from the engineering standpoint of what the well's gonna do when they drill the well to the roads or anything of that nature?
Most all the time, the drills go down to the aquifer, so it's a readily supply of water unless you're pumping millions of gallons out of it. The only other thing that I can mention is if you see there on the map, there's a pond and a creek that goes down through there that separates this tract from Meandering Lane property. So even stuff like stormwater drainage and stuff would actually hit the creek on this property and go off in the stream away from Meandering Lane. You know, if there was any increase in volume of water or anything like that. So If the water went to meandering lane and went through a pipe or something like that, there may be some issues, you know, potentially, or something like
We
that.
have that issue, this pond you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm directly just about in front of this pond. And that road, when it rains or whatever, the people at the top, I don't know why they're not here.
Yeah.
That's got, majority of them, their wells is in issue. We're at the bottom, so therefore our well is fine. But
Are you on the track that's right there?
used to be Sundance,
You,
lot 69.
can you point that out on that map?
I can barely see that map.
The pond is right here. and
The
then-
pond is here, and I would be,
So are we saying that Meandering Lane is not a state-maintained road?
right here.
I don't think
I'm
so.
right here. Part of meandering is, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Cloudburst it goes all the way around. And don't get me wrong, we took up petitions, we tried to do a number of things to get things done down there, and we've not had no luck with Lincoln County, DOT, whatever. Talked to Jason Sane, went through quite a few people. And with them doing this, it's got me wondering, and I'm
She's
1271 here.
She's, if you look at the map, she's 1271.
I have two lots there.
The pond and the creek actually are separated from her lot by the creek and also meandering lane. So the MOCA, I actually, believe it or not, I leased this land for about 10 years in the past for some other activities. And the majority of the water goes to the rear of the parcel, you know, there. I don't personally see how the, you know, water could affect her lot on the other side of the road and on the other side of the creek, you know, but, you know, there's always something called the perfect storm,
Right.
you know, that could happen. I think the one big thing to look at is all the lots on the adjacent subdivision are like ½ acre to 3/4 acre lots. And technically, with the zoning ordinance the way it is right now, these lots could be a lot smaller, all of them, and be more of them. The client has just, proposed to do the larger lots because, I won't say it's rough, but it does drop off in the back a little bit. There are some nice lots, there's some that's a little bit more sloping. That sort of.
And they're for sale right in front of my house, my over acre. And that water, when it comes down in there, is terrible. You just about, well, I had a BMW, let's say I've got a Chevrolet truck now, to get in and out when it rains or whatever. And when we go messing with these wells and this stuff, I just, no offense, I just want us to be, I mean, we pay taxes and they've doubled, everybody's has, maybe tripled.
Yeah, the unfortunate portion of it is that DOT handles the roads and not the county. So from a road standpoint, there's nothing the county can do for that. It's just how the state's set up, so. Is there anything you need to add, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I was just going to answer Commissioner Cecina's question about public road maintenance. So DOT's maintenance on meandering lane stops prior to the pond and prior to this property.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. All right, thank you, ma'am. Seeing no one else has signed up, I will close the public hearing at this time. I will entertain a motion to approve the findings of fact as submitted by the applicant.
Make a motion to approve the findings of fact as submitted by the applicant.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Mullen. Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? All right. Passes unanimous. I will entertain a motion to approve PA 61 Magnolia Road Apartments LLC based on the findings of fact.
Make a motion to approve PA 61 Magnolia Roads Apartment LLC, Long Homes LLC, Howard Builders Incorporated, based on the finding of fact.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Mullen. Any other discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It is approved. Thank you. All right. Next, Jeremiah, PA 62.
Yes, the last public hearing we have for tonight, plat approval number 62. The applicant in this case is requesting approval of a preliminary plat for a residential subdivision with up to 12 lots for single-family homes. The proposed site plan shows a new road providing access to the 12 new lots, and the applicant is proposing to serve these lots with public water and private septic systems. The 11.15 acre site is located on the north side of Graham Road at the intersection with Mallard Road and Captain's Way in Catawba Springs Township. This property is zoned residential single family, and it's adjoined by property zoned residential suburban and residential single family. Land uses in this area include residential and agricultural uses, and the land use plan designates this area as single-family neighborhood suitable for single-family homes with densities up to 2 units per acre. The proposed density of this subdivision, as shown on the site plan, does not exceed that maximum of 2 units per acre. This has been reviewed by the planning staff for compliance with subdivision standards, including external access, internal road connectivity, sidewalks, and street trees. This parcel is located in the critical area of the Lake Norman water supply watershed, so that does limit the density to 2 units per acre. That's a hard cap, but again, they're not exceeding that with this preliminary plat. You have the applicant's proposed findings of fact in your packet, as well as their proposed site plan, the very last page of your packet, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah?
Just the same question, and I'll let Mr. Schlock, him answer it instead of you, but same question about the road. So it's mandatory that they build the road up to state standard so it can be turned over for maintenance. Am I correct?
So they are proposing this as a private road, and I'll let them speak more specifically to some of the design elements that they're proposing that are kind of project specific for what they're shooting for here with the product type that they're going for. But it is proposed as a private road. With that being said, the UDO requires it to be built to the same standard as if it were going to be a public road petition to DOT for maintenance.
Okay, is the applicant here? If you would state your name and address.
John Shryock, 1316 Samuel Spencer Parkway, Davidson, North Carolina,
Is there
28036.
anything you would like to add?
We're a custom home builder. We're planning on building 12 houses on 12 lots. High-end homes is what we typically build in. Off-water lots will probably be between 1.8 and 2 million, and on-water lots will probably be, well, with the house on it, will probably be over 4 million. Be a high-end subdivision. We'll have a nice entryway into the neighborhood. That's about it.
What is your plan for that private road?
We would probably we'd have the homeowners association take care of the road.
Okay. There
So
would be
it
some-
would be part of their fees
Okay.
to take care of that road. And any of the maintenance that has to do with the front entry and everything that's associated with the neighborhood.
I'd like to apologize for butchering your name.
That's fine.
Anybody else have anything?
I have one question. Did you prepare the proposed findings of fact that were submitted with the application?
That would have been Joe.
If you would state your name, address.
Yep, Joe Folk, 9300 Harris Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina, and prepared the findings
Have
of
you been
facts.
sworn in?
I have,
Okay. So you prepared the findings of fact?
Yes.
You wish to incorporate those as part of your testimony?
yes.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything for Joe? Okay. We're seeing no one else signed up for the public comment. I will now close the public hearing. And I will entertain a motion to approve the findings of facts as submitted by the applicant.
I move that we approve the findings of facts submitted by the applicant.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Cecina. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. The ayes have it. I will entertain a motion to approve PA 62, John.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm gonna butcher it too, Shyrick, based on the findings of fact.
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the findings of fact.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Cecina. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. It is approved. We appreciate it. And for our last one tonight will be the final decision on SUP 519, Kenny Hendrick. Jeremiah?
Yes, so in this case, after concluding the public hearing on December 2nd of 2024, the Board of Commissioners voted to postpone a final decision until tonight's meeting. This was a request for a special use permit to expand a vehicle sales lot in the Eastern Lincoln Development District overlay. The 2.95 acre site is located at 1269 NC 16 Business Highway in Catawba Springs Township. You might recall this was a special use permit where back in 2012 was originally approved. A vehicle sales lot was originally approved based on a site-specific vesting plan back then. Our staff became aware of an expansion on the property that had not been permitted, and so that led to the applicant submitting an application to for that proposed expansion and the public hearing last month. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me. You do have the applicant's proposed findings of fact in your packet, as you did last month.
Okay, anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay, I will declare the public hearing continued from December the 2nd, reopened. Is the applicant here? If you would state your name and address.
Kenny Hendrick, 8117 McElwain Road, Huntersville, North Carolina.
Okay. Are you aware that the property is subject to a special use permit which required the vehicles shall only be parked on paved and gravel areas and not on the gravel areas of the site?
I am.
Okay. Got a couple more questions for you.
I was not sworn in when I got in here, so
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I thought it was
Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Do you acknowledge that there are monetary fines owed for continued violations of the property in excess of $150,000?
Yes, I'm the leasee of the property. There's two different landlords involved, and they were getting the citations, and then I immediately went to met with Jeremiah and Josh Grant about the fines, and basically they just that which brought us here, and they explained that I need to get a special use permit to expand the business. So I was not aware that I was only supposed to be on the pavement up until then. So I was not operating on purpose in the gravel area.
Okay. Do you understand that this board has the authority to impose additional conditions on the special use permit to assure that the findings are upheld, and failure to comply with these conditions will result in possible injunction and removal of your permit?
I'm aware, yes.
Okay. As a condition of the approval and final settlement or of the outstanding violations, do you agree to pay $50,000 of those monetary fines within 90 days of this board's decision being final, and an additional $50,000 if you violate the board's decision in a 3-year period?
I'm not prepared to do that now.
Okay. Would you need to take some additional time to postpone to?
Well, I'm in the process of trying to purchase the property. I invited both of the landlords to be here tonight. Neither one, they both declined. You know, in order to purchase the property it's a 20% down payment on my part. If we add another $50,000 in fines, if they get pressed to pay the fines, they've already made me aware that they're going to sue me for it. And this whole, my purchase of this property will probably end up not happening if this all gets pushed and pursued. I met with Jeremiah and Joshua Grant about, and they put a stop to the fines. Once they saw that we were just the primary fine was just the impervious use of the land, which they explained to me. They spent the time, and and I hired Don Allen Survey. I invited them. They couldn't make it tonight. I invited the engineer that did the site plan, and of course, I'm a tenant. I'm a leasee of the property. I'm got a lot of interest in being there. I love the community. I love the business, and my business is I'm in a position to expand the business, and that's why I'm here tonight asking for a special use permit to continue on. And with that, I'm in a position, they're asking me to purchase the land from them, which I want to do. Having a $50,000 fine is gonna break me, to be quite honest. I immediately reached out to these guys with the town planning about the citations. I made it my problem. I was not, when I signed a lease, I was not aware that I could only have 12 or 15 cars on this lot to sell. It's a small area of pavement, and that's why we cleaned the property up. I personally spent a lot of money cleaning the property up, making it look like what it does today, something we're all proud of. And I want to obviously comply, and I was hoping that the fines and penalties would be waived for my behalf. If not, then I'm going to have to deal with my landlords and whatever I've got to do. So if that can be waived, if that's an option, it would be greatly appreciated. If it's not, I'll have to go back to the drawing board and see what I can do. And I'm not ignoring anything. I'm here tonight, and I want to get the special use permit approved, and I want to move on with the sale of this property. The sale of the property is going to be $1.8 million, and I've worked my butt off to get into this position to make this happen. So, I'm very aware. Joshua Grant did a great job, outstanding job of communicating with me, and I've got the engineers involved. In fact, we had 2 meetings with the town planning and the guys with the 40-foot buffers, and we moved the fence, and we got in compliant because they were getting ready to expand that Triangle Road. And there's been a lot of effort on a lot of people's part to get here today,
Well, do you understand that failure to abide by the conditions imposed by the board may result in denial and removal of the special use permit?
I'm aware, yes.
Okay, so we're asking for you to pay $50,000 in fines to have this approved.
Just pay $50,000 in fines to have it approved.
And then, as a condition, you have 90 days to pay that, and then additional $50,000 if you violate the board's decision within a 3-year time period.
Well, can we give it 150 days?
Mr. Chair, could we change that to 180 days if he's willing to pay? Get a 6-month period?
That's fine with me, if that's what the board agrees upon in the decision.
I'll make that in the motion.
Okay. So we'll take the monetary fines within 90 days and make it 180 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are you good with that, Mr. Hendricks?
Am I good with that? At this point, I have to be, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, just to reiterate, I want Mr. Hendricks to understand that as they look at this conditional permit and they apply conditions to it, if you violate those conditions within a 3-year period, you will be subject to an additional amount of fines. You understand that?
Correct.
Okay.
Is there anything anybody else would like to add before we close public comment. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope.
Okay, I'll declare the public hearing closed at this time. And I will take a motion for approval with conditions.
Mr. Chairman, I will make the motion to approve with the conditions requiring finding number one, this use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if the location were proposed and developed according to the plan. The expansion will not endanger the public health. Finding number two, the use meets all required conditions and specifications. Partial expansion has occurred and the proposed use and additional expansion has gone through extensive review. I'm sorry, I just lost my place. Coverage limits of 75% are compliant with the proposed plan as submitted by the property. Number three, required finding number three, the use will not substantially injure the value of the adjoining abutting properties unless the use is a public necessity. The expansion of the current business has brought to light areas adjoining properties lines that will be remedied by carrying out the proposed plan and recombination. Two areas encroached into the neighborhood property to the north are being alleviated by the implementation of this plan. Requirement number four, the location and character of use of developed according to the plan submitted and approved will be in harmony with the area to which it has been located. The use of this property is vehicle dealerships, vehicle sales, and associated use accessory to this business are in harmony with the area in question. Modifications to the property lines and acquisitions and recombination of the property and reduction of the use in some areas are all attempted in keeping with the ordinance requirement conformity with the land use plan. The conditions of approval, based on the history and ongoing patterns of non-compliance with the Unified Development Ordinance on this specific parcel and established use of said parcel, the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners hereby determines that the following conditions are required to assure that the above findings are upheld. All vehicles shall, number one, all vehicles shall be permitted to be parked on the paved and gravel areas of the parcel. That's paved and gravel places only. All signage, permanent and temporary, shall remain in compliance with the Lincoln County Unified Development Ordinance. The applicant shall be required to obtain an amended driveway permit from the North Carolina Department of Transportation. The applicant shall be required to consult with the Lincoln County Planning and Inspections Division of the Developmental Services on all future modifications to the site and buildings located therein prior to the commencement of work to ensure compliance with local regulations and laws. Number five, the applicant shall be required to pay a fine of $100,000 of all outstanding fines and fees owed to Lincoln County for the full, complete settlement of all provisions of current zoning and or code violations on the property. The initial payment of $50,000 shall be made payable to Lincoln County within 180 days of the effective date of this decision. An additional payment of $50,000 shall be stayed for a period of 3 years of the effective date of this decision unless the applicant is found to be in violation of the conditions of the approval, at which time the additional payment shall immediately become due and owing. If the applicant remains in compliance with the conditions of the approval for that 3-year period, in that no warning citation is issued by Lincoln County, then the additional $50,000 shall be waived and all currently outstanding debts settled. This shall not apply to any future zoning or code violations that may occur on this property. And 6, if in the future the Director of Developmental Services or their designee determines that the application is in violation of any of the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinances, such a warning citation is issued for these conditions of approval, the Director shall herein refer this application back to the Board of Commissioners for review and possible revocation.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Cecina to accept the findings of fact. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And I need a motion to approve SUP 519 with conditions, as the conditions were just read by Commissioner Cecina.
I'll make that motion to approve with the conditions of approval.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Cecina. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, it is passes unanimous with conditions. Thank you. All right, now we will move on to request to accept funding grant for American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals and Foundation of the Carolinas. Jana.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
I'm here to request approval from the board to accept funding from two different organizations to support animal services. The first one is $10,000 from ASPCA. That would be to help expand our surgical capability at the shelter to eventually offer those services to animals owned by the public. And then the other one is $10,000 from Foundation for the Carolinas. That would go towards supporting staff development in regards to safe handling and life-saving capabilities. That's all I have.
Anyone have any questions? All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to accept the grant funding from American Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals and Foundation of the Carolinas.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Carpenter. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, John Henry, purchase of approval of library STEM vehicle.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
This vehicle was slated to be purchased back during COVID. Could not get chassis for the boxes to go on them, so that's why we're back here 4 years, almost 5 years later. We are asking for approval to purchase this vehicle from Tesco Specialty Vehicles. This is on a GSA contract in the amount of $214,021.25. State grant funds are funding a majority of this. County funds for this is approximately $22,000. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for John? I will entertain a motion to approve the library STEM vehicle.
So moved, sir.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Cecina. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
That's unanimous. Thank you. And now it is time for public comments, and we don't have anyone signed up for public comments at this time, so we will move to any other business. Is there any other business by the board at this time?
I have one item if I can.
All right.
Last month, we tabled a discussion or a vote on fluoride in the water. And I would like to bring that back up at this time, if that's agreeable. Back when fluoride was first started, it was a needed thing. There wasn't any other way to get fluoride. In today's world, fluoride is easily accessible through toothpaste, mouthwash, even bottled water that you buy has fluoride in it. So I would make a motion that we permanently discontinue the use of fluoride in our county water. County water serves 30% of the population, and with it being readily available, I think it's a duplication of services to do that. So I would ask that we just not ever start it back.
Okay, so just make sure I understand your request. Your motion is that we no longer inject fluoride into the county water systems and that we do not spend the money to, or I'm adding this to it just to make sure I'm clarifying for myself, that we would not spend the money to upgrade the system that is currently failed?
Yes, we would permanently stop that and
Okay.
not seek to restart that process.
Okay. Does everyone understand Commissioner Patton's motion? Yes. Does anyone have any other discussion to add to that? Okay, all in favor to no longer inject fluoride into the water system in Lincoln County, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passed unanimous. Thank you, sir. And now we will go to closed session. If somebody would read the closed session in form of a motion, I would appreciate it.
I make a motion to enter closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged.
Okay, we have a motion for closed session by Commissioner Carpenter. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are now in closed session. All right, we are back out of closed session. No action was taken. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, but before I do that, I'd like to wish School Superintendent Dr. Aaron Allen a very happy birthday today, and I move that we adjourn the meeting.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Cena. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.